Doctors are not trying to poison your pet. It's not extra poison in their body. It's just something that we do recommend because it's not fun to deal with. It's not fun to deal with, and it could be a sad situation if you don't if you leave it just to the wind.
I wish humans can be more like dogs. If you think about it, all a dog really needs is a little love and happiness. Welcome back to another episode of Wine, Whiskey, and Tail Wags.
Hey y'all.
We are the record for today is Teddy Pendergrass. But today we're talking about flea and tick prevention and all different types of prevention you would want to get for your dog.
And heartworm prevention. So to get started, kind of get into it.
Heartworms.
Going into heartworms pretty quick because it's similar to fleas and ticks. Um, Once again, start as early as possible. Some of them are monthly chewables. There are injections for it. A lot of times, your heartworm prevention also do intestinal parasite, so you don't have to worry about necessarily deworming your pet. Depending on which prevention you go with, some might have more coverage than others. Heartworms basically spread the mosquitoes. Of course, more moist areas, hot places is more prominent for it, but I would say everywhere because mosquitoes are everywhere and they can travel. You never know if somebody's pet traveled with heartworms in their car and you're in a new area that didn't have it before. That's how it can start. Places like Georgia, it doesn't necessarily get cold enough to where mosquitoes are not around anymore, just because of where we are. Of course, still in Jersey, keep it all year round because it kind of builds that habit. Because you break the habit for a couple months, you might forget by the time the summer comes, and then that gives that chance to get heartworms, which usually takes about 6 months to develop, to go through the different life stages. So a lot of times we don't start testing puppies for heartworms until 6 months. You can test cats, but usually it's harder to detect it in cats. That's why it's just best to prevent it than to treat it. You can test cats, it's just harder to pick up. So, because cats are not a natural host for heartworms either. So, if a cat happens to have heartworms, by the time any symptoms show or anything is usually too late. So, and depending on the sex of the worm they have or how many there are, it might not pick up on a test. But you can always do blood test, which is antibody test basically. Well, a lot of places start off with the antigen test, and that's the one for dogs where they just draw a little bit of blood, and it's usually a quick little test they run in house. Of course, can be fatal if left untreated. Basically, worms that is just filling up the heart. So just imagine the heart, it's pumping, it pumps blood to everywhere. If there's so many heartworms in there, they'll go into the different valves of the heart, and as the heart is pumping, is working up, that's what could usually lead to the dog coughing or passing out or something like that. So if a dog is diagnosed with heartworms, usually you put them on low activity, just so they don't get too worked up. And you do want to start treatment as soon as possible, which there are two treatment routes. There's the slow kill and then the clinical method. And usually with the clinical method, they watch them overnight. Slow kill, they usually prescribe some antibiotics and heartworm prevention, depending on where you go. Of course, treatment can be very expensive, looking upwards towards 5,000, depending on where you go. That's why I say it's just easier to treat and much cheaper to prevent it than it is to treat it, because you can look for prevention as depending if you get one single dose, you could be looking as low as $5. If you get 6 months supply, depending on the size of your pet, it could be $27 for 6 months supply. Once again, usually treats intestinal parasite, and then there are different preventions for that. Once again, there's the injection, there's a 6 month injection, a 12-month injection, which usually they do in house, and you don't have to do anything else. There's other ones which is just the chewables that you'll give each month, and then there's combination pills, medicine that does fleas, ticks, and heartworm. Just checking to see which one they take care of, which one best fits your lifestyle. So of course, if you're a person that goes hiking or anything like that, you might want to find something with the more coverage, just to make sure your pet is completely covered. But yeah.
It's called prevention for a reason. You can prevent it. Adults. You can't just be buying these animals so they can look cute. You got to take care of them just like you do your a newborn baby. You take them for checkups. You make sure they're good on that end. You got to do the same thing for your dog. A lot of this stuff can be prevented. I see as a groomer, and I'm pretty sure Sierra as well. We see a lot of dogs that have fleas or ticks, and all this stuff could have been prevented.
Or a lot of people just simply don't believe they need it. They feel like, oh, in the wintertime, I don't need to do heartworm prevention, or I don't need to do flea and tick prevention because it's so cold they can't survive. And it's not always true, because you can find mosquitoes inside the home, which the home is warmer. It literally has to be absolutely freezing, but it's still, why take the chance of allowing that to happen? Because you can easily forget, if by saying, okay, I'm not going to do this month, I'll do 2 months from now, and 2 months from now come, you're busy with other things and you forgot because you're thrown off schedule. So each month, just do it. Doctors are not trying to poison your pet. It's not extra poison in their body. It's just something that we do recommend because it's not fun to deal with. It's not fun to deal with, and it could be a sad situation if if you leave it just to the wind.
Like, their lifespan can get cut from something that could have been prevented. So, fleas and tick and heartworm prevention is extremely important and not something that, just to talk about or be overlooked.
One thing I did want to add, when it comes to young puppies and kittens, say if you're a breeder or you just adopted a brand new kitten or puppy and you see that they're infested with fleas, you definitely want to get that taken care of sooner than later, because if you let that go on for too long, that can cause anemia in cats and kittens. And if that's left untreated for too long, it can lead to even more detrimental situations. So, especially for kittens and puppies, if you just got them or you're a breeder and you see that there's a lot of fleas around, that's something you definitely want to get taken care of, because anemia in such young animals can be more detrimental. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
We thank you for joining us.
Yes, we do. On another wine, whiskey, and tail wax.
I wish humans could be more like dogs. If you think about it, all a dog really needs is a little love and happiness.